as tensions are building, and we start to see this conflict brewing, we get that battle at Lexington and Concord where the colonists felt pretty good. They were like, hey, look, we got this. We might win. They didn't necessarily want to go to war. They thought that with Lexington and Concord, it could prove that the colonists were willing to fight, and that might make the king say, okay, well, we don't want to fight. And so we are going to end up having a Second Continental Congress. So I'm going to go to my next blank page, and I'm going to title it Second Continental Congress. This meeting at the Continental Congress is extremely important because it's this meeting that takes us into war. Where is it going to be? Well, it's going to be in none other than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're going to meet in the same spot. It's in the middle. People from the north can get there. People from the south can get there. Philadelphia is right in the middle. And so when they meet, you're going to see a division amongst the delegates. You're going to see the representatives from 13 colonies. Remember, we are a country based upon the voice of the people, having representation, making sure they are all heard. And so they're going to kind of argue about, what should be done. And so we're going to see two sides grow. We're going to see a side that is for war and a side that is against war. Okay? So here's my for war and against war. And let's think real quick. What could be an argument for war? What do you guys think? Well, there you go. That's right. They obviously want independence. That would be a good argument for war. Thank you for giving me that. What's the second argument for war? Oh, yep, right there. They want to fight for their rights. They know what rights they have. You know what rights they have. They have that right to the self-government, a right to a representative government. They have a right to have their voices heard. And so they believed that the time had come and we need to go to war. There are some that are against the war. Well, what would be one reason to be against war? Okay. Yep. They don't want deaths. They know that war brings death, and they don't want that. A second reason would be a debt that they can't pay. They're not a country. They don't have any money to fund a war. There is no money to fund a war. And so when the Second Continental Congress meets, one of the first things that they are going to do is they are going to send the king an olive branch petition. They're going to say, please, king, please be nice to us and stop. Is that really going to work? Not so much. Then they're going to decide, okay, you know what? Just in case, let's go ahead and create a continental army. Let's go ahead and make sure that our colonial militias can get supplies, that they can come together and they can work together. So if something happens in Massachusetts, we can make sure we send soldiers up that were in the colonial militia from Virginia or things like that. A third one is they're going to look at one of the men that is there. We all know him, the very famous George Washington, and they are going to appoint good old George Washington. He's from Virginia, as commander of the army. So they're going to appoint Washington to be commander of this army. Okay, not to say we will go to war, but just in case. He becomes General Washington. Now, they're only doing this just in case until, I got a little bit of a bright spot right there. Hold on. He's General Washington. They're only doing this just in case. Because remember, they sent that king the olive branch petition. An olive branch is a sign of peace. Please, king, we just want peace. Well, the king sends back a proclamation of rebellion. He says the colonies are in rebellion. Quit asking me to stop. I'm going to do what I want. I am the king. And this is where our colonists say, you know what? Fine. And they declare independence. And they decide, we've had enough. We are going to officially unite our 13 colonies and write the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. And now we get to look at this declaration and everything the colonists wanted to say.